Hello, welcome to today's lesson. We're going to work on the order of operations. And the purpose of the order of operations is so we're all following the same rules when we're dealing with math so that we all come up with the same answers. It's like working at a job where there were certain order of things that you had to make your product in, and if you didn't all follow the same directions, then the product or the parts wouldn't get put together correctly. So our order is when we're simplifying, we're going to go in this order. So the first thing we're going to do is we say P for parentheses. And it's really any grouping symbols. Any groupings. And that means if you have a fraction, something going on in a fraction and something going on in the denominator, you have to do the numerator first, and then whatever's in the denominator, and then divide. Okay, so fractions count in this parentheses. E is for exponents. So an exponent is, say you had this right here. This is 2 to the third power. I'm going to write it out. 2 to the third power. And it's a shortcut for saying that I'm going to take 2 and multiply it by itself 3 times, because that's what the 3 says. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, so we're going to do parentheses and then any exponents. And then we have this multiply and divide. And because they're written like this, PEMD, folks usually think that M comes before D because it looks like it, multiply and then divide. But really, it's M/D. They have the same power. It's like muscles. They have the same power, and we have to do them whatever comes first, left to right. And then A and S are very similar. They have the same power as well. So add and subtract. A and S also have the same power as each other, and they also go left to right. So if a subtraction problem comes first, we have to do that problem. Okay. So if you have your book open to page 13, I'm going to let you know what problems I'm working on so that you could pull them up as well. So I'm going to be working on problem 11, A, B, and C here in a minute. Okay, so 11A says 3 multiplied by 5 plus 4. So we don't have any parentheses or exponents, but we do have multiplication, and that would come before the addition. So we're going to multiply 3 times 5 is 15 plus 4 is 19. The next one is the same numbers in the same order, but because there's a parentheses here, we have to complete the parentheses first, going back to our order of operations. So that means I'm going to do this 5 plus 4 first because it's in parentheses. So I'm just going to rewrite the 3 multiplied by, and then the result of 5 plus 4 is 9 in my parentheses. And then 3 multiplied by 9 is 27. And then, let's see, we have 3 multiplied by 5 plus 3 multiplied by 4. And so our order of operations say we're going to do this multiplication, 15, plus this multiplication to make 12, and then we'll add those to get 27. And now actually we get the same number in parts B and C. And that's because from B to C, we did what's called distributive property. The distributive property is like handing out newspapers. We distributed this 3 to the 5. That's why down here we say 3 times 5. And then we also distributed this multiplication of 3 times 4. So it's called distributive property over multiplication. And so here in this situation, we had all numeral values here. So doing one part B or part C, either way, writing it, it didn't change anything. And you're going to see the value of the distributive property when we get into some symbols, when we start doing a little bit more algebra. Okay, so today we're just learning some of our rules. I wanted to do this little extra problem to show you that here we have 10 subtracting 3 plus 4, which says because of the order of operations, subtracting and addition have the same strength. So I'm going to go left to right. So because subtraction comes first, left to right, I'm going to say 10 subtracting 3 is 7. And then 7 plus 4 is 11. So that's why you have to go from left to right. Okay. The next set of problems that I'm going to look at are 18, 33, and 36, if you want to turn to those. So 18a, we have in parentheses 8 subtracting 3 squared. And because the parentheses comes first in our order of operations, we're going to do that first. So this is going to be a result of 5 squared. And then that will be 25. And then C, we have a lot of things going on here. So we don't have any parentheses, but we do have some exponents. So I'm just going to rewrite the problem and fill in my value from my exponents. So 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. I'm just going to rewrite this. And the dots are always multiplication. I like to use the asterisk instead. And then 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. And then we are going to look at the multiplication next. So I'm just going to write 64 subtracting, and then I'm going to say 2 times 8 is 16. And you could have also multiplied by the 3 at the same time, but I'm kind of doing it in a couple steps. So then again, I'm going to write 64 minus, and then 16 times 3. We have to finish up the multiplication first. And that is 48 plus 9. And then, of course, we're going to go left to right. So this subtraction will happen first. So 64 subtracting 48 is 16 plus 9 is 25. Okay. Then 33, we have a division and a multiplication. So again, left to right, the division goes first. So 36 divided by 9 is 4. Multiplied by 4 is 16. And then the last one I have is 48 divided by 3 multiplied by 2. So 48 divided by 3 is 16, multiplied by 2 is 32. Now, I know very well that you can do this in an online situation. And so I just want you to learn the rules of operations, because you're going to have access to some calculators that you're going to be able to use for these. But when we get to the algebra and we have some letters involved, we're going to need to be able to use these skills to help us maneuver some of our symbols before we use the calculator. So I'm going to show you, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to use Desmos. I'm going to keep bringing that up here early on in the semester until I know everybody is getting Desmos and knows how to use it. Desmos is a fabulous tool. You'll want to get a free account, and that will be up here where it has my name. You're going to click on get a new account or log in. And then, for instance, if you hit this plus symbol, you can choose to do lots of things. The note allows you to type words like order of operations. You can make notes to yourself or to me. If you hit the plus symbol and you want to make a table, we're going to be doing that this semester, but usually we're just going to mainly be typing in problems. So 48 divided by 3. Now, and then we had times 2. So it came out to be 32. But notice when I hit divided by 3, it put it in a fraction form. That's just what Desmos does because it knows the order of operations that you're going to do. So even if you notice down here, if I type in 48, and then notice that I went down here to this, down at the bottom left where my mouse is, I hit this keyboard, and then it shows me the different symbols that I can use. And then there's a functions box where we're going to be able to use lots of other things too. But I wanted to make sure that you know where to find all of these other things that you can do as well. Okay. Okay. So I hope you have an awesome day, and I will catch me back, I should say, for the next lesson. See you soon.